Hello, my yarn smithing lovelies. Once again, we're here in my studio in central UK. If you've not seen me before, I'm Simon Henry, and this is where we gather to talk all things yarn craft. As last week, I've put the little bit of hate we've had at the end of the video because people like to talk about yarn first and have the hate second, it seems. So I've been asked a few times what was the very best yarn purchase I've made from Temu. It's quite difficult to choose because I've done quite well. I've had quite a few, but I've chosen a little group that I really think probably tops everything else that I've bought. Stay tuned. So, funnily enough, this was the latest delivery that I've had from Temu. And if you saw last week's video, that was not very successful, to say the least. This week's has been completely different because as soon as it arrived, I thought, oh, now this is the business. And it came about because I had a request to do a review and have a little look at some of the hand-dyed yarn that was on Temu. And I actually thought, this isn't going to be very good. I actually hadn't really ever looked for it. So I ordered, I think, 4 lots. And each one is fabulous, and for the money it's incredible. Now I also get told off because I don't put the links to where they are on Temu. Actually, there's a very good reason for that. These videos go out all around the world. I've got viewers in Australia and New Zealand and America, all over. And I had actually somebody who was on holiday in the Canary Islands that sent me, hello, have a lovely time, sent me a message that she was watching me while she was on holiday. So literally all over the place. And most countries, the UK being one of them, have their own Temu site. So the links, if I give a link of where I've bought it from, it's not necessarily going to take you to the same place. Now, I've clicked on a link that somebody else put, and I bought what I thought was the same thing that they'd bought. They're in a different country, and it was nothing like what they bought. So that's why I'm always a little bit reticent about putting on the links. However, today I'm actually going to put a couple of the links up, and it will at least give you a starting point to try and find what the same thing that I've had. So when we're talking about hand dyes, more often than not, they come in hanks. I've left these in the bag because I want to read to you what's on the label, and I'm really sorry, some of the bags are very crinkly and they're going to make a lot of noise. So before you tell me off for that, I'm going to warn you first about that. So the first one that we're going to have a look at is this one that came. It came in 3 hanks of 50 grams. I've actually wound one off into a ball. It's ever so slightly thinner than what we in the UK called double knitting, which is yarn weight number 4. On the label, it says, I'll have to put my glasses on. It says, it gives us the address, I do believe, of the importer. The importer is actually in Covent Garden in London. They've bought it over from China. They've tested it, and they've certified it here on the label as 100% merino wool. I can vouch for that. I did the burn test on it and a dye test, as I've done on all of these, and it really does appear to be it's definitely 100% natural fibres. There's nothing in there, but that merino or not, I don't know, but it feels fabulous. And this was 3 50-gram hanks, so 150 grams in total, for £5.65. Now, I knitted a little bit up to see what would happen with it. I didn't want to knit too much because I'd only got 150 grams of this, and actually that's enough to make a decent pair of socks, so I'm actually going to use it for that. Feels gorgeous. It knit up really nicely. There's a big choice of colours. I just literally picked random ones. I'd got no idea what I was going to use them for. However, this really is lovely, and 150 grams for £5.65 is amazing value. After I'd washed it, it did what we call in the trade, it did bloom slightly, so it puffed up a little bit, which meant actually the tension swatch did come up to something like double knitting, which is like 20 stitches and 28 rows to a 4-inch square. So that, loved it, absolutely loved it. Love the colours, love the colour changes. For £5.65. Bearing in mind that when I'm buying hanks of hand dye merino wool, you know, I'm sometimes paying like £20 for 100 grams, sometimes more, depends where it's come from. So incredible value. The next one was this one in a crinkly bag. I'm very sorry. I'm going to see for you if I can find the details. Which I think is this one. So this was again 3 hanks. However, these are 100 grams per hank. I weighed them as well. I weighed all of these, and actually every hank that we're looking at today came over as slightly more than the advertised amount. I wound that off also. Let me move that out of the way. I wound that off also onto a ball to knit. This knit very, very similar to the last one. The colour changes are longer. There's a longer length in between the colour changes on it. Again, this came up to, after it was washed, 20 stitches, 28 rows to 4 inches. The label says, let's have a look. So particular label says. I'm going to find it any minute. 90% merino wool, 10% nylon. And let's have a look. The importer is in Paris, in France. Again, it comes up to all of our safety regulations for the EU. Look at me with my glasses on bend. We're family. Who cares? So look for, let's have a look. If it takes you to the wrong place on the link, look for this label. Let's have a look. Artisan dyed skein. Really, it's really lovely. The colours, there's again massive choice of colours, and it's really nice. However, do bear in mind with any what they call artisan dyed or hand dyed that you buy enough to complete your project, because it will probably be sent to you all from the same batch, which means it was dyed at the same time, which means the colour changes are going to be fairly regular, fairly even. When they dye the next batch, it might not come out exactly the same, so always buy enough to finish the project that you're on. This one for, let's have a look, for 300 grams was £7.92 for 300 grams of hand-dyed wool. 90%, what was it, 95 or 90% did I just say? Let's have a look. Yes, 90% merino wool and 10% nylon. Because of the nylon in there, I'm probably going to use that for socks. The nylon will just add a little bit of strength and support to the heel and the toe. So the next one is this one. So you can see, I'm going to put the details up for this one. This is also £7.92 for 300 grams. This is, according to the label, it's a very small label. So I have to put my glasses on. This one is, let me see, 90% Australian wool and 10% acrylic. Again, the 10% acrylic in there is going to add a little bit of strength and support, so this would be good for knitting socks. And again, I wound some off onto a ball. For some reason or other, I didn't knit a sample with this. No idea why. But it feels gorgeous. It really does feel gorgeous. And goodness, for £7.92 for 300 grams, and actually it was slightly over 300 grams when I weighed it, is incredible value. And it really does feel gorgeous. Again, you know, whatever, buy enough to complete your project. At that price, buy more than you need to complete your project, I would say. So, final one. This is 95% merino wool and 5% acrylic, which is here. Let me see if I can find the price for you. This was £9.71, and the importer, let me have a look for you, that we get here in the UK is in Madrid, in Spain. They're the importers. The hanks, honestly, are gorgeous. They really are. If you look at the picture and look at this, it's exactly how it's described, and it's exactly how it's photographed in the picture. you'll see on the picture, actually, there's some little white bits. That is a way of telling that that is a genuine hand-dyed hank, because every now and then the dye will miss a little bit, but that's part of the beauty, that there isn't any of that actually on here. There are no missed bits. However, you do occasionally get that, but like I say, for me, that's part of the beauty of the hand dyed. I crocheted a little sample with this to see how it comes out, and it comes out definitely as yarn weight 4 or UK DK, as we call it. Gorgeous. It washed. I put all of these in the washing machine. No problem at all with the washing. Crocheted beautifully, felt lovely in my hands, and like I say, for £9.71 for 300 grams of hand-dyed yarn, it really is beautiful. Like I said, I'm going to put a couple of links there for you so that you can take yourself there, look at the picture of mine, look at that, click on where it says on there, on the UK site, it always says about safety. If you have a little click on there, it will tell you who the importers are, etc, etc, and you know that you're getting exactly what it says. I very rarely use, apart from if I'm knitting socks, I very rarely use hand-dyed by itself. More often than not, I'll use it as the contrast colour when I'm knitting Fair Isle or colour stranded work. So I just did a couple of those as a little piece of colour strand work, and look how gorgeous it comes out. I don't know if you can see that. It really is lovely. This one is probably my favourite here at the bottom, which was this one. Joy to knit, honestly, it's lovely. This bit of gorgeousness was, again, if you have a look at the merino wool that I bought from Temu, that's what that was. That's still sitting there waiting to have something done with it. That's again incredible value. It's really good gear. Let me see if I can show you the label on there. So if you can find that label on there, 100% merino wool, passed the burn test. It really is a bit of gorgeousness. Funnily, one of the comments that I had was when I welcome you at the beginning of the video and I say, hello my yarn smithing lovelies, she thought I said, hello my yarn sniffing lovelies. Well, I don't know if you've noticed, when I'm testing yarn, I do often sniff it. Certain yarn has a certain smell. You know, for example, alpaca smells like wet dog. 100% merino wool has a certain smell about it. Once you've smelled it, you'll know what it is. And so quite often when new wool arrives, I do smell it. So I might even start calling you my yarn sniffing lovelies. That would be nice. So that's that. Like I said, I've put a couple of the links up which will give you a starting point. It will point you in a direction for the hand-dyed wool. Look for the same labels on there, and fingers crossed you'll get something similar to what I've bought. So all of the people that have joined us just for yarn and not for anything else, please like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Pop over to the Patreon site and have a look what's going on. I'll put the link up there. What's going on over there. At the moment, we're doing a make along. We're doing some stranded colour knitting or Fair Isle knitting very traditionally way, we're going to steek it, so we're actually going to cut the knitting when we've finished. So actually we're nearly ready to do that, and that's where we are at the moment on there, and we're just waiting for everybody on there to catch up, and we will be doing that probably next week, perhaps, don't know. What else can I find? I'm looking for, and I can't find it. There you go. What I'm actually going to do, like I said I would do last week, and I need glasses. For goodness sake, getting old is no fun. It really isn't. However, make sure they're on straight this time. I'm actually going to just pop over to the Patreon site and have a little look, because we've had a few new members, and so I'm just going to welcome them. So the people who are on there, and quite a few of these are going along with the knit along. I'm really impressed with what they're doing. Their colour choices for their yarn really are fabulous. They're all going to look completely different when they're done. They're all a bit scared of cutting a steek. That's kind of the point, it is. So we've got lovely Angela and Denise and Trisha. Trisha calls herself One Nutty Knitter. We do love Trish. Sue Dale, all are from Ireland. We've got Linda Catton, we've got Faye, we've got Colleen Garner, sorry Colleen, we've got Lynn Sanders, we've got Caroline Sykes, Susan Topper, B. Rawlinson, Apple Pips, Nicola Robinson, Polly Gibbard, lovely Kerry, we've got June, Alison, Sue Gallagher, Vicky, Patricia Williams, she's doing really well with the make along. We've got Cindy, Desi, we've got Ray, we've got, who else have we got? We've got Mousy now. Go over and have a look at Mousy's Makes, I believe it's called. I'll see if I can find the link and pop it on. I actually watch other people's vlogs and knit-alongs and all that kind of stuff, and she's one of the my comfort goes to when I'm sitting knitting. I just sit and have a look at her. Her vlogs are really good. We've got Elaine, we've got Cindy, we've got Marla, and more. Thank you so much, all of you, for your support. I'm really looking forward to seeing the ones who've done the knit along with us, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you've done. So that was that. Anybody who doesn't want to stay for the hate, because I know half do and half don't, then goodbye. It's been really nice to see you happy knitting and all that kind of stuff. Love as always. And now the good bits. So not a huge amount of hate this week. Some odd ones, really odd. There was one, now we call it here when they give with one hand and take with the other, because she starts off by saying how much she loves the channel, and she loves the little chats and all that kind of stuff, and she also put that she loves my wild claims to be a fibre artist. So apparently me claiming to be a fibre artist is a wild claim. Well, one, I don't claim to be a fibre artist, I never have. Two, I think she's probably referring to the opening titles where I call myself a textile artist. I've got work hanging in homes all over the world. I've been in galleries all over the place. For the ones that can see the quilting on there, I don't do a lot of that nowadays, but I actually won here in the UK in 2012. I actually won the machine quilting award at the national championships here, so I'm a national champion of something, and I sell in galleries, so I would say that makes me a textile artist. If you don't want me to call myself that, I won't. I don't care. How funny. I just thought that was a bit odd. I thought it was a bit odd when she said it was a wild claim. Anyway, moving on. A couple of others. Let me think. There was one that she has been on before. I bet she's watching right up to this time to see if I mention her, and I'm not gonna, because of the words you wrote were homophobic. The words that you wrote were anti-Semitic. That's really sad in this day and age when you consider what's going on in the world. She called me a bald, fat, woke lefty. There was some gay slurs in there as well that I won't go into. That's going too far, love. I'm sorry, it's too far. You are really sad. What a sad person you are. I feel really sorry for you that you're going through YouTube to find people to spit out your venomous hate. You are a horrible person. So she's blocked. I've blocked her. It's the very first one that I've ever done on there. The homophobic stuff didn't matter to me at all. Love, I was born in the 60s. I've heard it all. I've had it all directed at me. I don't know really what you think you can say that's hurtful that I've not heard before. So take it somewhere else. This is a channel about yarn and knitting and crochet. Oh, it's a real pity that I can't swear on here. I think there might be some mental health difficulties there when you read it. I think there might be a bit of that. So anyway, I've blocked her. She can't make any more nasty comments. Like I said, it was she's got no idea of my heritage, and she put things on there that really were very offensive. So we won't be seeing her again. So what else was there? We had the usual stuff about that I shouldn't be using yarn from animals, because that's very cruel. So to use yarn from sheep fleece is very cruel, allegedly. We also had the opposite. We had, I should be using natural fibres, because when I use man-made fibres, and especially petrochemical fibres like acrylics, that's really bad for the environment. I've got to knit with either one or the other. Well, you'll see if you've watched me before, you will see that I do recommend wherever possible you use either recycled or repurposed yarn. Go to charity shops, buy something, undo it, reknit it, or buy, like I did a review a few weeks ago, I think there's still some up there somewhere, buy recycled yarn that saves it from going into landfill. Oddly, I don't know if it's the same where you are, but when I buy recycled yarn, it's actually much more expensive than original yarn. But I still buy it. I still use it wherever possible. So that's that. Please like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. We're building up lots and lots of subscribers now. There was one bit of hate that said that I shouldn't be earning money from this. She said, I can see that you're monetized. I think that's terrible. What? I do love having you along, and I do love inviting you into my studio. And I'll tell you, the reason I started this was actually I'm about to retire from my main job, and it was a way of kind of keeping me active, but also helping to fund the purchase of all the stuff that I buy for myself. And you know, most weeks I have to say I spend more on yarn. I hope the husband's not listening. I spend more on yarn than I earn on YouTube. Don't care. It's got nothing to do with anybody else. That's my choice. So in the meantime, it really has been lovely having you along. As always, very much love as always. Happy yarn smithing. And I'm going to see you really soon for something special. Bye.